Hello and welcome back to ITWeb TV at the Security Summit 2024. I'm joined now by Conrad Roos. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Head of Governance, Risk and Compliance at the Foschini Group, also known as TFG.
That's it.
I'm saying that correctly. Conrad, welcome.
Thank you very much, Adrian.
Cool. So let's start off. Let's go to the basics. What are the main kind of areas of GRC, governance, risk and compliance, in a retail group? And how big a part of that is related to IT and cyber?
Yeah. So maybe I just need to position where we fit into the organization.
Sure.
So yes, we've got a massive IT organization or division within our organization. And cybersecurity used to report into IT. We are now separated, so we report directly to the board.
Okay.
Which is a nice change, and it's good for cybersecurity. So yeah, so as you said, I head up GRC within that cybersecurity team. So I report to our CISO, one of the leadership members. And yeah, so what it means for TFG or the Foschini Group is that I look after the governance, risk and compliance, as you said. So from a governance perspective, it's obviously governance, or good governance is obviously the cornerstone of an organization, as well as the risk management.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so from a governance perspective, it's primarily ensuring that the business drivers and goals and objectives are met. Okay, so we ensure that by, for example, managing policies like the information security policies, AI policy,
okay,
and various other policies. So ensuring that we obviously, like I said, meet business objectives and perform that governance role. That also falls part into governance is my engagement with external audit. So I also manage that engagement with our IT division and facilitate that. So lots of interesting discussions and again, looking at it from a risk perspective on the various findings. On the risk management side, yes, we do cybersecurity risk assessments throughout our organization. I'm not sure if everyone knows, but we're a global organization.
Okay.
So we operate in 3 territories mainly, Africa, which obviously includes South Africa, and then UK and Australia. So the unique thing about cybersecurity is that we offer services and capabilities throughout the group across those 3 territories. And so when it comes to risk management, it's doing the cybersecurity risk assessments, we surfacing obviously risk, highlighting risk to the business, and assisting the business and executive management to make risk-based decisions. So that's a very important role, and we are all about reducing risk and risk optimization. So that's my primary role. Obviously, I use a lot of people in my team and across cybersecurity to assist with that risk assessment process. Then from a compliance perspective, there's various compliance requirements that the group needs to meet. As you know, we're listed on the JSE, and from operational and a compliance perspective, yes, I think one of the top ones that comes out obviously is privacy, like with most organizations, POPIA Act, GDPR going across the UK. So ensuring those compliance requirements are met. We also, my team is also responsible for PCI compliance in Africa and UK. We're going to be looking at Australia as well from a compliance perspective. So yeah, that drives the compliance, and we need to be 100% compliant. That can't be just operating. We have to ensure it's fully compliant. Then we've also got SWIFT compliance. So yeah, that pretty much covers the compliance requirements, and again, meeting the business requirements, supporting the business, and having the right discussions at the right time to ensure we don't hinder the business in achieving their objectives, but still achieving compliance.
Okay. So with something like GDPR, and Poppy, I'm seeing GDPR was the European thing.
Correct.
Then we've got the UK breaking away from that, and I assume they're just still following GDPR.
Yes.
And then you've got the Australian, I would imagine they've got their own data policy, data protection policy. So how do you kind of put all of that together? Do you follow like the best practice of all of them and make sure you're compliant across all three? Are there kind of variations, and how do you kind of bridge those gaps?
Yeah, so from a customer base, the three territories operate pretty much separate.
Okay.
So it's very unlikely that we would have a South African or Africa customer that also shops in the UK and us. But look, they've obviously got the e-commerce platforms, all three territories. So there could be a case, but there's not a single view of the customer across the three territories.
Okay.
So to answer your question is that we basically manage it per territory based on the relevant legislation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the online retail there. So just before we started recording, you said that people didn't know Foschini Group had so many kind of brands.
Yes.
And I'll hold my hand up, I was one of those. I think it's only since I've seen TFG and then started looking. And I think one that I particularly like is Bash, which has kind of brought together a lot of the online sort of stores into one central kind of site. So how does that differ dealing with kind of GRC on an online store versus the kind of physical retailers, where I guess you've got different kind of compliance kind of and risks?
Yes, no, absolutely. So I think first of all, yes, we are a retailer, but don't forget we've got a massive manufacturing division as well.
Okay.
Over 3,000 employees producing local manufacturing products. That's prestige. And then we've also got a financial services division. Obviously comes with their challenges, etc. So, but let's talk about stores. So we've got a massive store footprint. We've got 28 brands in South Africa. So Foschini, Markham, the jewelry division, Stearns, American Swiss, etc. Sports, adult sports, Ortsin, and then let's go on. I think I can't name all 28, but I know all of them. So our stores environment is massive. Okay, we've got 3,500 stores, close to 4,000 stores now. Just in Africa. That's brick and mortar stores. Okay. Now, so from managing GRC in stores, it's got its challenges. So first of all, there's like 27,000 employees in stores. Okay, across those 3,500 stores. So one of the first challenges when it comes to security awareness and doing the right thing and all that stuff is staff turnover in stores. We've got about a 27% staff turnover on an annual basis.
Okay.
And it increases. So there's a lot of turn. So the challenge there is now how do we keep those guys informed of the right thing to do? So remember, our stores are the guys that's customer facing. So they're the face of TFG. If you think about it, when you go into a store, your store staff are very critical because they face the customers, they're the face of TFG. So they are also the people that firsthand work with personal information, PII data, and obviously customer personal information. So it's very important that they obviously safeguard that and protect it according to the regulation. Obviously South Africa according to the PII, and in the UK GDPR. The other thing with stores is also from a compliance perspective is PCI. So having card present in the store, paying with credit cards, ensuring that we follow PCI compliance is critical. I mean, it's not negotiable. We have to ensure continuous training and awareness, and making sure that staff both head office and stores. But I just want to talk about stores because very unique, high staff turnover, and their first priority, like with the other head office divisions, is not necessarily security.
Yeah.
Okay. Their first priority is to sell and to satisfy customers.
Yeah.
And that's it. So it's important for us to ensure that they do that with the right security and the controls in place. for example, the PII information and credit card information. So from a head office perspective again, as I mentioned, other division, financial services, manufacturing, logistics. So there are various head office divisions. We also, from a governance, risk compliance, work across those divisions. So we regularly meet with the head of IT, the head of business, and various stakeholders in the business to talk about cybersecurity. We attend our store operations meetings so that we also understand, because again, stores very different to head office. And then I don't know if you'd ask about Bash, e-commerce. Yeah. So there's basically the three environments. There's your head office component, stores, and then your e-commerce. So from a e-commerce, same thing there. Very different environment, different challenges, different risk landscape. But the important thing is we don't differentiate between Africa, UK and Oz. Obviously we need to ensure that all the relevant controls and things are in place across all three territories. So head office, very much different approach versus stores. And e-commerce, it's again, it's got its own challenges from a GRC perspective. But we work closely with them, and like I said, we meet with the heads of business, head of IT, CIO, and we are in constant contact with them and ensure that they, and unfortunately we've got buy-in. I think that's the most important thing.
I think probably, and I'm going to make an assumption, it's probably going to be somewhat easier to deal with Bash and to kind of explain the GRC implications to what I assume is hopefully it's a smaller team than 27,000 developers, but yeah, it's going to be like a confined team who probably a bit more digitally literate and digitally aware, and cyber is something that might slow down some of their kind of coding or development, but I think they'll probably get to grips with it. Whereas I imagine, like you say, the 27,000 staff with a 27% turnover, you're getting people in who don't necessarily understand all of the kind of implications or how information can be leaked and stolen and all these kind of aspects.
No, absolutely. I think obviously Bash are much more tech savvy, similar to the IT division. We also do, so part of I might have forgot to mention that in the beginning, is around security awareness and training. So our portfolio is also responsible for that in the group. So talking about, yes, the difference between how do we educate and train someone in stores versus head office and Bash. So what we also do is targeted training, for example, phishing training. We go to specific divisions and target them.
Okay.
We don't do gunshot approach. We used to, but it's obviously much more effective. A malicious actor would do exactly that. They will look at who do our customer services guys liaise with and deal with, and they would target that. So we do exactly the same when it comes, for example, to phishing simulations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's kind of take a bit of a broader look over things. What do you think are some of the bigger risks, cyber risks that retailers are facing? I mean, obviously protecting personal data, we've obviously got the online and we've discussed the kind of physical and the kind of differences there, but maybe what are some of the other risks that are faced, and how do you think that differs from other industries? I was going to say like manufacturing, but you also do manufacturing. So other industries like, I don't know, mining or telecoms or whatever.
So first of all, I would say our logistics and supply chain.
Okay.
If that has been compromised or interrupted, you can just imagine that would interrupt the whole business. So that's key. So that's definitely different from let's call it other industries. Then also having brick and mortar stores. I spoke about it, 3,500 of them in SA. Is your point of sale systems. So you would think that a malicious actor would target those. So it's important, how we manage and control that point of sale, including the PCI and the relevant compliance components that goes with that. Another one would be, let's just think now. Yeah. So obviously, talking back to stores. and our customer services head office. They work with customer data. We've got a massive customer database of over 20 million records, which is a combination of credit and cash customers, rewards, etc. So it's critical for us, being a retailer, working with all that customer data, to obviously have the relevant safeguards in place and protect the data according to legislation. But it's also about doing due diligence and due care. So that is definitely another one. And then, there's the obvious stuff that's most probably not specific to retail, but obviously a risk to any organization, including us, is a breach. So a breach obviously has got a ripple effect, and we know that there's reputational damage, there's potential fines, etc., and damage to the organization, and primary and secondary loss, etc., etc. So that's maybe more general, but it's top of mind. It's top of our boards. That's their concern. So that definitely is and including ransomware and those kind of attacks. So it's maybe not unique to retail, but it's top of mind, and like I said, even with the board. Yeah.
Okay. How do you think GRC is seen by the business? Are you kind of seen as like we're just trying to do the right thing? Are you kind of seen as like the police? Are you seen as like an inhibitor to business and innovation? Or do people kind of generally, as part of business, how do you think other parts of business see? Well, you personally?
Yeah. No, I understand. I think the short answer is GRC is seen as an enabler, and when I say GRC, maybe the bigger cybersecurity as well. It's an enabler in order to allow the business to do business and achieve their objectives, and that obviously with the reduced risk and by us doing risk optimization. The important thing for me is that our group CISO, which I reported, is a member of the board risk committee. Okay, and that gives them exposure to our enterprise risk management as well, and interactions. So, and like I said, it is cybersecurity is a big concern for them. But on the positive side is we get a lot of support. Our group CISO is also on the enterprise risk forum, working with the various divisions, and again coming back to stakeholder engagement is we engage with head of IT, head of business units on an annual and a monthly, quarterly basis, discussing what the cybersecurity concerns, risk, etc. So there's a lot of support from bottom up and top down. So again, to come back to answer your question, GRC and cybersecurity is seen as an enabler in the business and ensuring that business can actually do business. Hopefully peace of mind when it comes to cybersecurity, and
Okay. So your panel discussion, which I think is later today, is around collaboration, particularly across the tech C-suite, which was the CIO, the CISO, and who am I missing? The
CISO.
CTO. There we go. How do you think that kind of collaboration can be improved? Is there a need for better collaboration? Is it like I'm talking in general, not specific at TFG, but are people kind of missing each other, or do you think they're all kind of working for the same common goal?
I think we're very fortunate at TFG. I think I've just answered the question by talking about the stakeholder engagement, board representation, major board concern, and we're getting the support. We're getting the support from a resource perspective, whether it's financial, human, etc. So that helps a lot. I think it obviously doesn't stop there. The continuous engagement with heads of business and IT is critical, and everyone needs to be on the same page. And that unfortunately doesn't happen automatically. They need to put a lot of effort into change management, creating the awareness and desire and understanding, what does our risk landscape look at, specifically at TFG? What are the high or the critical risks? How we are addressing it, and how we are continuously looking for new ways to manage risk. Because ultimately, it's all about risk management and risk optimization. If we can do that right, we're all doing our jobs, irrespective if we're in GRC or other cybersecurity divisions. So that's our main goal, and that's what we try to achieve. But stakeholder engagement, to answer your question, is critical. Everyone needs to be on the same page. It was the last thing you want in an organization is that it's seen as a blocker, you're seen as a policeman, and we've done numerous exercises and efforts to explain to business that we assist them to surface risk, and in order for them to make risk-based decisions. Okay, we don't accept risk in cybersecurity. Obviously, the business and the business owners do, and that is one of the important things which I think is crystal clear at TFG, which helps a lot, and maybe with other organizations it will help as well.
Yeah. Okay. So all pulling in the same direction.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah. Conrad, that's been great. That's been fantastic. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thanks a lot for the interview.
Cool. That's been Conrad Roos from the Fashini Group, now known as TFG.